All right, today we are cracking open the playbook on one of the most fundamental ideas in economics, the theory of production. This is really the engine that powers every single business you can think of, from your corner bakery all the way to a global tech giant. So let's just dive right in.
So think about your favorite local coffee shop for a second, right? They have to combine beans, milk, expensive espresso machines, and talented baristas in just the right way to make a profit. So how do they figure out that perfect combination? Is it just pure luck? A frantic guessing game every single morning?
Well, here's the good news. It's not a guessing game at all. It is absolutely a science. And today we're going to walk through the core principles that producers use to turn raw ingredients into the products that we all love, all while keeping their costs low and, keeping the doors open. Okay, let's get into it by starting with the most basic building block of production. You can think of it like this. Every single producer has what amounts to a secret recipe.
Now, that secret recipe, it has a formal name in economics, the production function. And all it really says is, if I have this much stuff to work with, what's the absolute most I can possibly create? And that stuff is your inputs. Usually we talk about capital, or K, that's your machines and buildings, and labor, L, which is of course your team. So the flow is pretty much always the same. You take your inputs, your baristas, and your espresso machines, you apply your unique method, that's your production function in action, and out comes the output, a perfect latte. This simple flow is at the heart of literally every business on the entire planet. Now, once you've got your recipe down, the next big challenge is always scaling up. But as a lot of managers find out really fast, just adding more and more of one ingredient isn't always the answer. And this leads us to a really critical concept. To really get this problem, we need to ask one simple question. What do I actually get from my next hire? The answer to that question is called the marginal product. See, it's not the total amount you make, but the extra bit you get from adding just one more person. It's the bang for your buck of your next big business decision.
Let's imagine a pizza shop. Okay, so one worker doing everything all alone makes 10 pizzas an hour. But what if you hire a second worker? Well, now they can specialize. One person's on dough, the other's on toppings, and together they pump out 25 pizzas. That means that second worker added an extra 15 pizzas. This is awesome. Productivity is going way up. But watch what happens as we keep hiring. By the time you get to the fourth worker, they only add 5 more pizzas to the total. And the fifth worker, they only add 4. They're starting to bump into each other. They're waiting for the single oven to be free. The kitchen is just getting way too crowded. Each new hire is adding less and less to the final count.
And that is one of the most ironclad laws in all of economics, the law of diminishing marginal returns. When you keep adding one input, like more workers, while keeping your other inputs fixed, like the size of your kitchen, you eventually, inevitably, get less and less out of each new addition. Now that phrase, fixed kitchen size, is a really, really important detail. It brings us to the 2 key time horizons that every single producer has to think about: the short run and the long run. The short run is basically this afternoon. You're stuck with the kitchen you've got, the ovens are bolted to the floor, the lease is signed. The only real lever you can pull right now is maybe hiring another cook for the dinner rush. But in the long run, let's say, over the next year, everything is on the table. You can rent a bigger space, you can buy more ovens, you could completely redesign your entire operation from scratch. So, if we're thinking about that long-run flexibility, how does a producer actually decide on the absolute best combination of inputs? How do they find that perfect, magical mix of workers and machines? Well, to solve this puzzle, economists use 2 really powerful ideas. First up is the isoquant. Just think of it as a same quantity map. It shows you all the different ways you could make, say, exactly 100 pizzas. Maybe that's with 5 people and 1 oven, or maybe it's 2 people with 3 super high-tech ovens. The second tool is the isocost line, which just means same cost. This shows all the combinations of workers and ovens you can get for a specific budget, like $1,000 a day. So here's the game. You take your 100 pizza map and you lay it on the table. Then you find the cheapest possible budget line, the isocost line, that just barely lets you reach one of the combinations on that map. And that single point where they touch, that's it. That's your magic number. It's the most efficient, cost-effective way to produce what you need to produce. And that right there, that is the sweet spot. It is the holy grail for pretty much every operations manager on the planet, hitting your production target for the absolute lowest possible cost. It's the very definition of peak efficiency.
So, how do you actually know you're at that sweet spot in the real world? Well, there's a pretty simple rule of thumb. You look at the last dollar you spent on hiring someone, and then you look at the last dollar you spent on new equipment. Did they give you the same bang for your buck in terms of extra pizza? If the answer is yes, you've nailed it. You are officially minimizing your costs.
All right, so now that we understand how to produce things efficiently, let's talk for a second about how to think about costs correctly. Because, and this is important, not all costs are created equal. This is something that trips a lot of people up. Just imagine this scenario. You've leased a rail car for your business, and it costs you $5,000. The contract says if you cancel within 2 days, you get $1,000 back. But the other $4,000, that's gone forever. So now, as you make your next decision, how much should that $4,000 really weigh on your mind? So what about that $4,000? I mean, it feels painful, right? It's money you just can't get back. Well, that painful feeling has a name. It's what economists call a sunk cost. It is money that is gone forever, no matter what you decide to do next. So how much should you care about it? The cold, hard, rational answer is zero. Not at all. And I gotta tell you, this is one of the hardest lessons in all of business and in life, that money is already gone. It's completely irrelevant to your next choice. The only thing that matters now are the future costs and benefits of whatever you decide to do. So, we have covered a ton of ground here, from the basic recipe of production all the way to the psychology of costs. Let's put it all together into a final, actionable playbook. So here it is, your playbook, boiled down into 5 key rules. Rule 1, know your recipe, your production function. Rule 2, you have to beware the law of diminishing returns. More isn't always better. Rule 3, in the long run, find that cheapest mix of people and machines. Rule 4, and this one is huge, train yourself to always ignore sunk costs. And finally, Rule 5, make your decisions at the margin. Focus only on the costs and benefits of your very next move. Look, these aren't just some abstract theories from a textbook. They are the practical, real-world rules that guide every single successful business. So now that you're armed with the producer's playbook, the only question left is, what will you build?